The evening rain drummed softly against the towering windows of Sterling Corporate Tower, casting gentle shadows across the marble lobby. It was nearly 8 o'clock, and the building had settled into its quiet nighttime rhythm. Marcus Thompson pushed his cleaning cart down the hallway of the 42nd floor, his footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. At 55, he had been working as a night janitor for 12 years, ever since the factory closed and took his supervisor job with it. His weathered hands gripped the cart handle as he moved methodically, from office to office, taking pride in his work, despite what others might think. Tonight was different, though. Tonight, his 6-year-old daughter, Emma, was with him. The babysitter had called in sick, and with no family nearby to help, Marcus had no choice but to bring her along. Emma sat quietly in the employee break room, her small fingers wrapped around her favorite teddy bear, trying to stay awake past her bedtime. As Marcus worked, he thought about Emma's upcoming school fundraiser. The other children would have their parents there dressed in their finest clothes, writing generous checks for the school programs. He wanted so desperately to give Emma that same experience, to be a father she could be proud of in front of her classmates. The elevator chimed softly at the end of the hall. Marcus glanced up from his work, surprised to see anyone at this hour. The doors opened and out stepped Victoria Sterling, the company's chief executive officer. At 38, she commanded respect in every room she entered. Her platinum blonde hair was perfectly styled even at this late hour, and her white dress suit spoke of power and success. Victoria strode down the hallway with purpose, her heels clicking against the polished floor. She had returned to retrieve important documents for an early morning board meeting. As she approached her corner office, she noticed Marcus emptying a wastebasket nearby. "Excuse me," Victoria called out, her voice sharp with irritation. "What are you doing on this floor?" Marcus looked up, setting down the wastebasket carefully. "Good evening, Miss Sterling. I am Marcus Thompson, the night custodian. I am just finishing the cleaning on this floor." Victoria's eyes narrowed. She had been under tremendous pressure lately, facing challenges from board members who questioned her leadership. Her company was in the middle of crucial negotiations, and stress had shortened her patience considerably. "This floor houses sensitive executive offices," she said, her voice rising. "You have no business being here. You do not belong here." The words hung in the air like a physical blow. Marcus felt his chest tighten, but he maintained his composure. He had heard similar words before, though rarely spoken so directly. "Miss Sterling," Marcus replied quietly. "I understand your concern. I have proper clearance to clean all floors of this building. But tonight, I have an even more important reason for being here." He paused, gathering his courage. "I am here for my daughter." Victoria blinked, taken aback by his calm response. "Your daughter?" At that moment, Emma appeared at the end of the hallway, clutching her teddy bear. She had grown worried when her father took longer than usual and had come looking for him. Her dark hair was slightly mussed from trying to nap on the break room couch, and her pink dress was wrinkled from the long evening. "Daddy," Emma called softly, her voice echoing in the spacious corridor. Marcus felt his heart skip. He had hoped to keep Emma safely tucked away in the break room until his work was finished. Now, seeing his little girl standing there in her innocent vulnerability, facing the stern gaze of one of the most powerful people in the city, he felt both protective and exposed. "Emma, sweetheart, please go back to the break room," Marcus said gently. But Emma had already started walking toward them, her small shoes making tiny sounds on the polished floor. Victoria watched the scene unfold, her anger beginning to waver as she took in the sight of the small child. There was something about the way the little girl looked at her father with complete trust and love that stirred something deep within Victoria's chest. "I am sorry, Miss Sterling," Marcus continued, his voice steady but filled with quiet dignity. "My usual child care arrangement fell through tonight. I had no choice but to bring Emma with me. She has been sleeping in the break room while I work. I would never compromise the security or integrity of this building, but I could not leave her alone at home." Emma reached her father's side and slipped her small hand into his larger, work-worn one. She looked up at Victoria with curious brown eyes showing no fear, only the natural openness of childhood. "Hello," Emma said politely, the way her father had taught her to greet adults. "I am Emma. Are you my daddy's boss?" Victoria found herself looking down at this small person who spoke with such simple honesty. The child's presence seemed to fill the corporate hallway with something it had been missing, something warm and real. "Victoria began, then stopped. She realized that in her 12 years as an executive, she had never really looked at the people who cleaned her office, who maintained the building that housed her success. They had been invisible to her, part of the background of her busy life. Now seeing Marcus through his daughter's eyes, she began to understand something she had missed. This man was not just a janitor. He was a father working 2 jobs to support his child. He was someone who took pride in his work and did it with quiet dignity even when others looked down on him. "Emma," Victoria said softly, kneeling down to the child's level. "Your daddy takes very good care of this building. He makes sure everything is clean and safe for everyone who works here." Emma beamed with pride. "My daddy is the best daddy in the whole world. He reads me stories every night, and he makes the best pancakes on Saturday mornings." Victoria felt something crack inside her chest, a wall she had built around her heart over years of corporate battles and personal disappointments. When was the last time someone had spoken about her with such pure love and admiration? Standing up slowly, Victoria looked at Marcus with new eyes. "Mr. Thompson, I owe you an apology. I spoke hastily and unkindly. You do belong here. This building depends on people like you. And I have been foolish not to recognize that before now." Marcus was quiet for a moment, surprised by the change in her tone. "Thank you, Miss Sterling. That means more than you know. Tell me about Emma's school," Victoria found herself asking. "Is she happy there?" Emma answered before her father could speak. "I love school, but next week we have a big party where all the mommies and daddies come and daddy has to work that night." Marcus felt his cheeks warm with embarrassment. "The school fundraiser," he explained quietly. "It is an important event for the children. But I cannot get the time off, and even if I could, the ticket price is beyond what I can manage right now." Victoria was quiet for a long moment, thinking. She remembered her own childhood, how her father had missed many of her school events because of work. She remembered the empty seat where he should have been sitting, the disappointment she had tried so hard to hide. "Marcus," she said finally, "I would like to make you an offer. What if I arranged for someone to cover your shift that evening? And what if the company sponsored a table at the fundraiser?" Marcus stared at her, hardly believing what he was hearing. "Miss Sterling, I could not ask you to do that." "You are not asking," Victoria replied with a gentle smile. "I am offering. Every child deserves to have their parent there for important moments. And every parent deserves the chance to be proud of their child in public." Emma tugged on Victoria's dress suit jacket. "Are you coming to my party, too?" Victoria looked down at the hopeful little face and felt her heart make a decision her mind had not yet processed. "Would you like me to come, Emma?" "Yes, you can sit with me and Daddy." Over the following week, something remarkable happened. Victoria found herself thinking about Marcus and Emma often. She started paying attention to the other employees she had previously overlooked. She learned the names of the security guards, the cleaning staff, the maintenance workers. She began to see her company not as a machine driven by profit, but as a community of people, each with their own hopes and struggles. The night of the school fundraiser arrived with spring-like warmth. Victoria had never attended such an event, and she found herself feeling surprisingly nervous as she approached the elementary school. Inside the decorated gymnasium, she spotted Marcus immediately. He was wearing his best suit, though she could tell it was several years old and carefully maintained. His face was glowing with pride as he watched Emma show her artwork to other families. When Emma saw Victoria, she ran over with unbridled joy. "Miss Victoria, you came. Daddy, look, Miss Victoria came to my party." Throughout the evening, Victoria watched Marcus interact with the other parents and teachers. She saw how respected he was in this community, how the other children gravitated toward his gentle kindness, how the teachers appreciated his involvement in Emma's education despite his demanding work schedule. During the silent auction, Victoria quietly bid on several items, but her most meaningful contribution was less visible. She had arranged for her company to fund new playground equipment and updated library books, gifts that would benefit all the children for years to come. As the evening wound down, Emma fell asleep against Victoria's shoulder as they sat watching a student performance. Victoria found herself stroking the child's hair gently, remembering what it felt like to be young and trusting. "Thank you," Marcus said quietly. "Not just for tonight, but for seeing us, for treating us like we matter." Victoria looked at this good man who worked so hard for his daughter's future and realized that he had given her something precious in return. He had reminded her what really mattered in life. "Marcus," she said, "I have been thinking about some changes at the company." We need someone to oversee our community outreach programs, someone who understands what working families need. Would you be interested in a different kind of position? 6 months later, Marcus Thompson sat in his new office on the 20th floor of Sterling Corporate Tower. As the Director of Community Relations, he had helped implement programs that provided child care assistance, education scholarships, and support for working parents throughout the company. Emma often visited after school, doing her homework at the small table Marcus had set up near his desk. Victoria stopped by regularly, sometimes just to chat with Emma about her day, sometimes to discuss new initiatives with Marcus. The friendship that had grown between them was built on mutual respect and understanding. Victoria had learned that true leadership meant lifting others up, not looking down on them. Marcus had discovered that his voice and experiences had value in the corporate world. One evening, as they prepared to leave the office together, Emma looked up at Victoria and said, "Miss Victoria, I am glad you came to our building that night." Victoria smiled, remembering the angry woman she had been just months before and the transformation that a small child's love had sparked in her heart. "So am I, Emma," she replied. "So am I." The building settled into its evening quiet around them, but it felt different now. It felt like a place where people belonged. All of them. Each valued for what they brought to the community they had built together. Sometimes it takes the innocent wisdom of a child and the quiet dignity of a parent's love to remind us that we are all more alike than different and that kindness has the power to change everything.